All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon, Friday afternoon, after a long week. I'm sure you're all probably pretty tired, but thank you for joining me on this webinar. I hope that I can share some valuable information for you and your practice that you can use and implement in your strategy, in your marketing strategy. My name is Blake Hadley. I am the president and one of the founders of My Social Practice. Just some housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded, so you can watch it later. We'll send you out a link early next week. You all be on mute, but feel free to ask any questions as they come up. You can use the chat function, the Q&A function of Zoom to ask any questions, and I'll try to get to those at the end. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here. All right, well, the title of the webinar tonight is How Do People Find You? The Secrets of Google My Business. And please chat in if you can't hear me, or hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I don't have somebody on my end checking things, so if you can't hear me, let me know. All right, so how do people find you? The secrets of Google My Business. Just a little bit about My Social Practice before I start. We consider ourselves the #1 comprehensive social media marketing solution for dental practices. We've been doing this for over 12 years now. We've worked with thousands of practices across the country, really across the world. We've partnered with some of the top industry leaders to bring these marketing messages to you. And we have one of the largest social media followings in the industry. We really practice what we preach and try to understand Facebook and Instagram and Google as much as we can so that we can grow our business that way. And it's really been the main factors of growing our business to where we are today. We also offer additional digital marketing services, all under one roof. We can help you with getting reviews. We can help you build and host your website. And as we're going to talk about tonight, we can also help you with Google Maps SEO. We also host one of the largest dental digital marketing conferences. It's called the Dental Digital Marketing Conference. We've been doing this for 8 years now. This is our 8th year, and it's going to be here in Salt Lake. If you would like to come, it's one full day focused purely on dental digital marketing. We cover everything from social media to SEO to your website to any strategy that you can think of when it comes to digital marketing. We will cover, and we get some of the industry's top thought leaders in digital marketing to come and speak at this event. There's 8 CE credit hours, 12 presentations, and this year we only have 150 seats available. It's at the Ultradent headquarters. So if you'd like to come, October 15th, go to dentalmarketingconference.com to register. All right, now we got that out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about Google My Business. What is Google My Business? We'll just kind of start at the very beginning. So this is your practices listing in the Google database. This is what Google knows about your practice. So if someone searches dentist in Los Angeles, if they do like an indirect search like that, your listing will show up in the map section of the search results. So as you know, if you scroll down a little ways, when you first do the search, you'll see a map section, and a number of listings will show up right there in the map section. Now, if you do a direct search for the name of your practice, so for example, West Coast Dental of Los Angeles, you'll see in the section on the right called the knowledge graph or the knowledge panel, your listing will show up in that section. So you can see here the West Coast Dental of Los Angeles listing shows up with some images and the map at the top. And then it tells the website, the hours, is a little bit of information about their practice. It's your listing. I kind of think of it honestly as your website before your website. They're finding that people are going to this section to contact you and to learn about you even before they go to your website. And sometimes they're not even going to your website at all. They kind of know everything they need to know just from this listing. So if they click on that little listing there, it will then take them to the Google Maps page, where it will show exactly where your listing is on the map, and then it'll pull the information there on the left about your practice. A little bit about the history of Google My Business. So way back in 2005 is when this started. Google came out with what's called Google Local Listings. And what they did is they basically just scraped the white pages and any other listing out there. And there was no map involved. It was just your local listing online. And it was kind of a mess because they just pulled any information that they could find. And then they left it up to businesses to go and claim their listing and to correct any information. If their phone number or their address was wrong, they would have to do that on their own. And then in 2012, Google improved it and rebranded it and called it Google Places. And this is when the maps were incorporated into it, and they kind of tightened things up and created more of a listing that businesses could own and could modify. And then in 2013, they tried to take those maps listing and they kind of tried to create a social network out of it. They kind of wanted to get into the Facebook type of space, and they came up with what's called Google Plus. And this actually was a pretty big flop. Google Plus didn't last very long. People preferred to use Facebook and Instagram and the places that they were already familiar with. And so this didn't do very well, but they kept some of the components of this social media network into what we call Google My Business today. And so Google My Business is just, all it is rebranding all these different names into what's called Google My Business. So from 2014 to now, that's what they call it. And there's actually a ton of functionality in it. And Google is updating Google My Business pages. It seems like there's an update each month, and they're really putting a lot of time and effort into these listings. The reason why this is so important is because they've found that 90% of all online searches are done through Google. So when someone searches you on Google, that listing and the information that you have there is so important because it's the first thing that most people are seeing. They also did a big study and found that 68% of consumers say that they trust the Google Maps results. So I was talking to you about how when you first do a search, there's at the very top, there's the ads, and then there's the maps results, and then underneath it are the organic results. They found that 68% of people trust those maps results. 10% of people trust the ads at the very top. I don't know if you're like me, I usually just skip right over those ads. Maybe I'll look at them real quick, but then I'll scroll down to the maps to see what's closest to me. And then they found that 27% of consumers say they trust those organic results, those results that are right underneath the maps. And to get good organic results, that's going into the SEO of your website, the keywords that are on your website, how you're writing blog posts, and the keywords that are inside your blog posts. There's a lot of factors that go into that. And a lot of times it takes hiring a company to help your website SEO so you can rank high in this section. But it's kind of interesting that 27% of people trust those organic results and more people are trusting the maps results. So that's why it's so important for you to focus on the maps section. They were a survey done by Iron Monk, asked which dentist would you most likely pick from a Google search. And they found that the top answer was the one with the best online reviews. You can see 43% of people said the one with the best online reviews. The next says the one closest to me. The next says the top ranked one in the search results. The next says the cheapest. And the next says the one with the best looking website. So the reviews is what people are looking for, and Google My Business is where those reviews are hosted. So again, another reason to focus on Google My Business. They've also found that 1/3 of mobile searches are related to location. So now when people pick up their phone and they're searching for something, 1/3 of the things searched for have to do with what someone's trying to find something locally in their area. A lot of times people will just go straight to the Google Maps app or maybe the Apple Maps app. In my case, a lot of times I'll go to the Apple Maps app because I have an iPhone. But they found that those type of searches in the location apps are growing 50% faster than even mobile browser searches. So instead of going to a browser on their phone, people are going to the Maps app. And then the Google Maps app is used by 70% of monthly navigation app users. So there's the Google Maps app, which is on most people's Android phones. And then there's the Apple Maps app, which is on the iPhone. But the Google Maps app is actually used a lot more. And that's why, again, the Google My Business listing will show up when you use the Google Maps app. That's what's going to show up first, is the Google Maps listing. So what determines your maps ranking? So there's three things that Google looks at to decide where you rank and if you rank in the maps section. So the first thing is relevance, the next is distance, and the third is prominence. So relevance, this has to do with how close the word is, or the words that someone searches, to what you offer or what your services are. So that's the first thing that they look at. The second is the distance. So how far are you standing from where the business is? And this plays a really big factor into what it will show you. If you're closer to the business, it may show it higher. If you're further away, it will show lower on the results. And then last, prominence. Prominence is the information that Google has about your business from across the web. So these are articles, links, directories, reviews, what people are saying about you, how many backlinks you have. This has to do a lot with that organic SEO as well. How many things are written about you, how many sites are linking to your page or your website. So those are the three things to think about. So what we can do at my social practice is we can look at your location on the map, and we can determine where you will rank based on what terms that people search for. So for example, if someone were to search dentist, they can then, depending on where they're standing or where they are, and Google determines that through either their IP address or if they're sharing their location. You can see here that this woman here is standing really close to the dental practice, and that practice is showing up second on the Google Maps results. And this man here is a little bit further away from the practice, and you can see that for the term dentist, this practice is showing up 13th on his Google Map result. So what we do is we take what's called a maps grid. We create this little grid that shows where you will rank depending on where you're standing. So you can see here in the middle, right close to the practice, are those green circles. If it has 2s and 3s, that's where they'll rank. As you start going further out, there's some 10s and some 12s and some 15s in the orange. And then it goes into red, which are those X's. And that's saying that basically if someone were to stand at that location and search for dentist, that practice wouldn't even show up on the results. So this is for the search term dentist for this practice. If you were to search cosmetic dentist for this practice, depending on a number of factors, those three factors that I talked about, this woman, when she searched cosmetic dentist, the practice showed up first. When the man searched cosmetic dentist, it showed up second. And then for the term dental implants, again, depending on those three factors, this woman searched it, it showed up 9th, the practice showed up 9th, and when this man searched it, it didn't even show up at all on the results. So the goal for your practice is to show up on that front page. So when someone searches dentist near me or searches any of those terms that I just showed, that you'll show up in those top 3 results. The top 3 Google calls the Google Maps 3-pack. And these are the results that show up before someone has to click view all. So it's the first page of the results. So 92% of searchers will pick businesses on the first page of local search results. And the Google Maps 3-pack gets 44% of total clicks. And that's why it's so important that we can get there. So what can you do to make your search grid come from this on the left, where maybe you're ranking really low or not even showing up at all for a lot of terms, to looking like this on the right, where you're showing up on the top page or in that top 3-pack. And there's a ton of things that you can be doing, and a lot of it requires some professional help, and we're here to help you if you need. But I want to give you some tips that you can do on your own, and you can get started so that you can at least start ranking a little bit better. All right, so these are my 10 Google My Business optimization tips. Let me make sure everything's working okay. 1 second here. Okay, somebody is asking if I am on mute. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I am not on mute, but we have more people on, so we should hopefully be okay. Brenda, hopefully you can hear me now. All right, so Google My Business optimization tips. Let's start here with number 1. All right, so the map, if you go to maps.google.com, you're going to want to first verify your listing. You want to make sure that your practice is eligible to show up on Google Maps. So the way to do that is if you go to the maps and this maps.google.com and you search for your listing. And then when you find your location, click on manage this listing. All right, so when you click on that, it will either take you to a page like this that says verify to manage this location, and it will have a phone number for that listing, and it will text the phone number or call the phone number so that it can verify that it's you or someone from your practice. Or it will send an email to whoever has claimed that listing in the past, if there's an email associated with it. And you can then request access from that person who has already claimed your listing. So you're going to want to have you're going to want to verify it, and you're going to want to have some type of management administrative rights to your listing. All right, so if you go, once you receive rights, if you've receive that text message and you verify it, or it reaches out to the person whose email is associated with your business and you receive rights as an admin over your account, if you go to business.google.com, this is the dashboard that you're going to see to be able to manage your page. You want to double check that whatever account you're logged into, this is your Gmail account, is the right account, is maybe your personal Gmail account or whatever account you use that is that has those admin rights over the page. Another way that you can do this is you can download the app on your phone. The Google My Business has a really good app that you can use. And once you download it, when you open it at the very bottom, it will look on your phone to see if you're already logged in on Gmail, and you can continue as the person that you're or the account that you're already logged into in Gmail, which is usually your personal Gmail account. It'll have you sign in and verify that. And then under locations, your practice should show up if you have admin rights to that practice already. If you go down to the more section, if you have admin rights and you go to manage users, you're going to want to make sure that you're also an owner of your account, not just a manager, but that you personally are an owner. The reason why we recommend that you do this as the dentist is that, your staff might change, turnover could be high and people could leave that have admin rights over your account. You're going to always want to have some type of admin right and ownership over your account at all times. So we'd recommend that no matter what, you are one of the owners of the account. All right, so number 2, under the info, once you have access to your account, if you go to the info section, be sure you fill out as much information as you can and make sure everything is accurate in this account. What Google will do a lot of times is they'll have you, it says complete your recommended tasks to reach your goals on Google. And it will give you a little plan of all the things that you need to fill out to make sure that your account is complete. We recommend that you do everything that Google recommends that you do. The more that you can fill out and the more information you can give them about your business, the better will be for your ranking. So if ever Google asks you to do something, do it. Number 3, add a few primary categories. We see a lot of practices in this section right here at the very top. They'll only have one primary category, which will be dentist. We recommend that you add 2 or 3 primary categories to this section. So what will happen is if you click on that, it will have your primary category, which you can put as dentist, cosmetic dentist, will give you a little drop down, and then add some additional categories as well. So there's a number of different things that apply to dentistry in here that you can choose from. dental implants provider, for example, orthodontist. They have some specialty listings that you can put in there. So even if you aren't an endodontist, for example, or if you aren't an orthodontist, if you provide some of those services, that might be good to add into this section as well. Number 4, broaden your service areas. So this is something really interesting too that we've seen most practices don't do. A lot of practices will just put one service area in the city that they're located. But if you click on that, you can see here this practice has put many different service areas, and some of these service areas might not even be places that you are super familiar with. So if you go to Maps and you find your location, you'll see around your location, there's a lot of these titles, I have them circled here, that may be areas that are named that you might not necessarily be even familiar with, or maybe even heard. I know I did this in my area, and I hadn't heard of half of the places. So you can see Crossgate, Durant Road, Sheffield Place, Bournemouth, Heights, Summerfield North. These are different areas that Google recognizes, and you can add these into your service areas, and you can add as many as you want, actually. So that's what we'd recommend that you do, is to find these, not just the cities, but actually find these areas as well. Most of the time, you can stay within about a 3-mile radius of your practice, depending on what type of area you are, where you get your patients from, if people are willing to drive a ways, depending on where your practice is, or if it's a lot of people are coming from really close around your practice. But 3 miles is usually a pretty good amount of distance to pick from for these areas. Number 5, add multiple services and details. People search Google based on a lot of different things. They won't just put dentist near me or cosmetic dentist near me. They might put teeth whitening near me, for example, or dental implants near me, or dental implants in my city, or whatever it might be. So if you can add as many services underneath each one of your primary categories, this will be an advantage to you. And the way that Google My Business does it is that you can put it underneath your categories. You can see here, dentist is the primary category. And then you have dental fillings, full dentures, tooth extractions, dental implants, teeth cleanings, all underneath dentist as the category. And then you can actually put in a little description as well for every single one of these services that you do. And if you can write these descriptions custom, and you can include some things like your city in the description or the name of your dentist, that will be an advantage to you as well, to make these custom. Don't just copy and paste from just a website that has a description about a service. Try to make these as custom as you can. So you can see here, dentist, cosmetic dentist, to add, and you can see how many different services that we added in this one here. All right, number 6, add photos and videos. This is your opportunity, as people see in the knowledge graph section, or when they find you in Google Maps, they're going to want to click through your photos. It's kind of like your opportunity to create that first impression, or if someone were to go to your Facebook page, they're going to go look at your photos and your videos first. So this is an opportunity to do that. So you can add as many photos as you'd like, but there are 2 photos that are pretty important. Is your cover photo and also your logo. So the cover photo is the very first photo that people will see on your listing. It shows up on the very left side, and really prominent there on your listing on that right-hand side. And then your logo will also show up underneath. So make sure you have added your good cover photo and your logo. If not, it just kind of picks a photo that's in there, maybe even a photo someone else uploaded when they visited your practice. So this will give you some control of putting your own photo in there. So you can see there, that's where the cover photo shows up on the very left, and then your logo shows up next to your name there. At My Social Practice, the clients that work with us, we give them a little photo checklist of what they should be adding into their profile. And so these are just some of the recommendations for their exterior practice photos, that you put at least 3 photos of your exterior. If someone is just trying to find your practice, You should put different angles of the paths that people go to your practice, the things that they'll see when they're traveling to your practice. Make sure you shoot from all those different angles. Maybe your front door, or from the sidewalk, or from the road, so it makes it easy to find your practice. Interior practice photos, we recommend that you at least include 5 interior photos of your treatment rooms, of your front lobby area. Sometimes it's hard to get good photos, especially if your office isn't very well lit, but try to find areas that are either by some nice windows, or make sure to turn on the lights so you can get those photos as bright as you can. Team photos, we recommend that you at least post 5 photos of your team, show a little bit of the culture of your practice, and who you are. You might even want to just have the headshots of every one of your team members and upload those in there as well. And then patient photos, we recommend at least 3 of those. Take some photos of your patients, of course, get HIPAA authorization to post those photos if you're going to put them anywhere on social media or on Google, but showing your patients and the relationship that they have with you is something that we always emphasize at My Social Practice as part of your social media strategy, and as well as your Google My Business strategy. And then videos. You can upload videos in that section. It's a little tab there. And if you have any videos that just show who you are, if you've made a video about your practice, an office tour, whatever it might be sure to upload those in there as well. All right, next, number 7, consistent posting. Google's frequency of interaction formula, it demands that businesses regularly engage with their customers. So this is kind of like social media. Facebook and Instagram like it when people engage with accounts, because it shows they're involved, it shows they're interested. And when people are interested, Google or Facebook decides to show people more content from that business, because they're trying to give people what they're interested in. So Google is the same way. If people are interacting with the content that the business is providing, Google will show that those businesses more to more people that are searching, because again, their goal is to try to give people what they want. So posts is a great way to create engagement, just like Facebook has posts, and just like Instagram has posts, or like how you can post a blog post on your website, you can post information, photos, educational information on your Google My Business page. So if you go to post section on the left-hand side of your dashboard, you can see these. And this is an example of one of the posts that we made on one of our clients. We'll post a little bit of information about emergency dentistry, for example. And then inside of that post, we try to create some links that link either to their website or link to their local listing. We try to put as many links as we can possible, and we've kind of found that putting those links in there actually helps a little bit as people engage with those accounts. So they'll click on the links, and then the more engagement, the better. So if someone just clicks on it and reads it, that's okay. But if they click on it, read it, and then click a link and go somewhere else, that's even better for the engagement. So this link would go to their website, to a blog post about emergency dentist, and then they can read the blog post. So the more times you can get them to click somewhere, the better. The posts actually show up if you scroll down on that knowledge graph. It'll show up down here where I've circled. And then when they click on that, it'll show all the latest they call them the latest updates, but they're those posts. Number 8, acquire and respond to your reviews. Like I said in that survey that I showed, people want to see companies with reviews, and dental practices, they look at their reviews very first. And so high quality positive reviews can improve your practice's visibility, and they'll also increase the likelihood that patients will call you. So in that dashboard in your back end of Google My Business, if you click on reviews, you can see all the reviews you've replied to and the ones you haven't replied to. If there are any reviews you haven't replied to, be sure to reply. This is so important that when someone writes a review, positive or negative, that you reply and thank them or respond to their concern as quickly as possible. One way to do that is if you go into settings, be sure you have your notifications turned on when someone writes you a review. So there's a section here that says custom reviews, and you can turn on the notification for that. So whoever's in charge of responding to reviews, make sure they get a text message or an email saying that someone posted a review, and be sure they get on that as quickly as possible. Jay Baer, he's a best-selling author and business strategist, said, "My advice is to answer every customer in every channel every time. Customers expect a business to respond to them in approximately 24 hours." So you kind of have 24 hours to respond to them. I would say 24 to 48 hours is probably the time frame in which you should respond to review. So the reviews show up, of course, at the very top of your Google My Business listing there. And then if they scroll down, there's also a little snippet of each one of the reviews that they can click on. So it's in 2 places on your listing. One way to get more reviews, this is probably one of the biggest questions we get, is how do we get more reviews? The best way that we have found is to ask patients when they're in your practice. Right after their appointment, while they're in their practice, you can say something like, "Hey, Carl, would you mind sharing your experience with us today?" And then get them a link or a way to leave your review right then and there. So we offer a software that sends a text message to your patient that they can just click on the link in the text message, and it will bring them to a page like this on their phone. And then they can decide to write you a review on Google, Facebook, or Healthgrades, and then it will take them directly to your page where they can leave you a review. We have found that's the most successful way that practices have found in getting more Google reviews the quickest. So please, if you're interested in that, let me know. I'd be happy to schedule a demo to show you a little bit more about that. Number 9, make a Google website. So this is actually a pretty new thing that Google has introduced. And if you already have a website, that's okay. You can add this little website on top of it. Like I mentioned, anything that Google suggests that you do, we recommend that you do. So this is actually an additional citation that can help improve your ranking. And if you go to the left-hand side of that back end, you can click on a website, and it's a really just basic website that has the name. They give you a few options. There's some drag and drop things where you can drag images in. You can edit the text really easy. So just the name of your practice. There's something you can schedule an appointment right from the site. It will pull in all of your posts that I talked about. It'll pull in your reviews that are on your Google My Business. It will pull in your description, and then it will pull in all your photos that you've put in Google My Business. So it basically takes all the information that you have already put in your listing and pulls it in and organizes it in a really nice way that creates a little website. Now, you might not direct a lot of people to this site. I mean, you can if you want to. You probably have your own website that looks great, that you feel is more of your brand. But again, this is just an additional citation that's created. That's good. That could help you with your ranking in your local area. So you can see it shows a little map at the bottom, directions. People can call you from the page. So yeah, we'd recommend that you do that as well. Number 10 is just get some help. There's those 9 things that you can do, and it's important that you do those things, but there are a lot of things behind the scenes that you can do even more to get you from that grid report that's a little bit further down the map with the reds and the yellows and the oranges to more of the green top 3 rankings. And we can help you with a lot of those things. We have a service that helps you with that. This is just a really basic overview of how we can help you optimize your account. We can clean up your listings. We can optimize your website. And then we have incredible customer support that will help you along the way and offer reports of your progress. I'll just show you a couple quick case studies from a couple practices that we've worked with that have been on our Google My Business service. At Shady Grove Pediatric Dentistry in Rockville, Massachusetts. This was on day 1. This was their grid, their grid report. You can see a lot of those yellows and oranges. They had 5 listings. If someone were to search children's dentist, they showed up 5 times on the front page. And then day 49, they showed up 102 times on the front page. And day 88, they showed up 116 times on the front page in that 3-mile radius that I talked about. When people search for pediatric dentist, you can see from day 1, they showed up 41 times. Day 49, they showed up 108 times. And day 88, they showed up 110 times on that front page. Websites visits from Google Maps, they went from 190 to 374 website visits 3 months after working with us, increased 97%. Their click to call from Google Maps increased 54%, and their views on Google search increased 134%, and their views on Google Maps increased 143% after 3 months of working with us. And my last case study is VP Dental in Raleigh, North Carolina. This was their search grid report progress for the search term family progress. Day 1, they didn't have any results on the front page. And by day 88, they had 8 results on the front page. And she said, our practice signed up for My Social Practice Google Map service. And within the first 3 months, we doubled our new patient phone calls. I feel like we've tried so many different SEO services in the past, but this is the first service where I've seen results like actual new patients. I highly recommend their Google Maps SEO service to anyone looking to grow. We would not be where we are without their help. So we have seen incredible results from helping these practices. They're getting so many more calls and so many more new patient inquiries just from changing how their Google My Business shows up in the maps. We would love to help you see where you rank currently for certain search terms in your local area. We can run a grid report for you, just like I was showing you. So if you go to mysocialpractice.com/free-google-maps-analysis, you can get this free report. If you go to mysocialpractice.com, probably the easiest way to get there, go to mysocialpractice.com, and there's a bar across the top that's orange. It will say get a free grid report. Click on that and that'll take you to this page, and you can enter in just a couple of the keywords that you want to rank for depending on what you offer, and then we'll send you a grid report that looks like this so you can see exactly how you're ranking on the maps. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to send me an email. My email is blake@mysocialpractice.com. You can also visit us at mysocialpractice.com, or here's our phone number to call us. We would be happy to help. We can run you through a demo and get in more detail of our services that we provide. But yes, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I can talk, and I can set you up with whoever you need to talk to understand more about our product. All right, let me see if that's all I have actually for today. Let's see how I did on time. I'm actually went a lot faster than I thought I would. So if you have any questions, feel free to chat them in at this time. I'll kind of look at the Q&A for a little bit here. And if we don't have anything, again, feel free to email me personally and I can respond to any questions that you might have. It looks like we're okay. I had that one, hopefully everybody could hear me okay. I had that one person ask if I was on mute, but hopefully I didn't go through this whole thing on mute the whole time. Hopefully you could hear me fine. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me, and you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.